Welcome to Living on the B-Side, where music and stories come together to inspire and transform. I'm your host Birgit, and in every episode we explore the universal language of music, how it shapes our lives, connects us, and tells the stories that define us. Through heartfelt conversations and powerful melodies, we uncover the magic that makes music so much more than just sound. Welcome, B-Siders! Oh my God, what a special episode. Number 100. Can you believe it? I am amazed. I am excited. I am overwhelmed. It's incredible. So today I want to do a little bit of what could I say? Like a reminiscing episode and just kind of looking back, but looking also where I'm right now and maybe look a little bit into the future too. So this is what this episode is all about. It's a reflection of the past, present, and the future. And I can't wait to share this with you. 100. When I saw that number coming up on my schedule, I couldn't believe it. When I first started about 5 years ago, I had no idea I would make it to 100. I thought maybe if I can get to 10 episodes, that will be a massive achievement. I was worried about finding people who wanted to share their love of music and how it has impacted them in their lives. I was too shy. I was uncertain. I had no confidence that this would be something that people would resonate with. And here we are, 100 episodes. Wow. I sat there and I thought, what are some of the highlights that I could share with you in this episode? What are some of the meaningful moments and the lessons that I've learned in this time? Boy, there's so many. And every time I think about it and make notes, something else comes up. One of the probably hardest things for me to pinpoint is my favorite episodes, solo or guest, because I feel every episode has something unique, something special that, or the juicy bits that I always say, the golden nugget moments that come out of the solo conversation, of the guest conversations. When I think about guests, yeah, I have a few names in mind that stick with me to this day, but I don't want to name those names because I don't feel that's what right or what I want to do. I think the guests that stuck out to me the most are those that were really open and vulnerable and shared their moments with the world that others probably wouldn't share, meaning very private moments where music at times was a lifesaver. It was the companion they needed when they didn't really have anything or anybody else. And it's also those guests that realized that there is a magic in music and that we can create more magic if we, take music's hand and walk with music side by side. So there's so many personal stories that have touched my heart so deeply. I'm still getting teary thinking about a few personal struggles came out of it. Family issues helped deal with that. Business challenges or using music in a business setting, creating change, positive impact for other people. The list is endless. So I do not want to do what other podcasters do and share their favorite episodes. I feel I don't want to do that. So hence no guest names will be mentioned here. And the meaningful moments there were in every episode, I always walked away with something good, with something that meant something to me, maybe on a personal level that I needed to hear in that moment. And that happened very, very often, that I walked away and thought, damn, I just needed to hear that today for myself, and I feel, and I know that would have transcended through, that would have been a ripple effect, because I know if I needed to hear it, then probably one of you guys needed to hear it too. Which then brings me to what I've discovered over time, because when I started a podcast, I didn't do it the way traditional podcasters do. And if anyone that helps people start up podcasts would listen to this, they'd be shaking their head going, oh my God, you've done it so upside down. But for me, it was just hopping on a call and just talking to people. That's all I wanted to do. I had no concept in mind. I had no strategy planned out. I just wanted to do it for passion, for the love of finding this music and storytelling element. I always loved that. So that was really what shaped the podcast, is this music and storytelling, because they really go hand in hand so deeply. And I really haven't come across anybody that doesn't love or like music in some shape or form, and that doesn't have a story that is connected to music. And this is really all I wanted to do with this podcast when I first started out. Then over time, as many of you maybe can relate with other things that you guys do, if that's a hobby or in jobs or passions, it comes to the point where there is a question of, is this just a passion, or can I turn it into a business? And when I say business, yes, of course, income was something I was hoping for, that I was maybe even aiming for, but it wasn't my main goal. And that's what I figured out over time. I wanted to turn this into a business because I really deeply feel and know that music can help people so much in their life. There's so many ways where music can be your guide, your friend, a lifesaver, so much more. And going through those motions, I've tried over the years several ways to, what they call in business term, monetize my podcast. And honestly, it never turned out in the way that I wanted. And I'm going to be very honest and frank with you guys. I've not made a penny out of this podcast in 5 years. So it was always this struggle for me between the music and the storytelling and the conversations that I'm having, versus the marketing and promotion of it. I know a lot of podcasts, they might have sponsorships, or they have like some memberships or Patreon or buy me a coffee, all that kind of things where people donate because they love the show so much. And this is just something I've struggled with ever since I became self-employed, is the kind of promotion and marketing of yourself. Not because I don't, you know me, I'm here in front of a camera, I can talk to people, I can do this, but it's just something that I think in my brain just is a bit distorted. I don't know what, it's just not working for me. And one thing I've figured out over time as well is, the growing and the fitting in versus just that creating and having joy in doing. And I got pulled into this standard 9 to 5. If you want to grow your podcast, this is what you have to do. You have to do it this way and you have to fit in that way. And that never really hit me. That never really hit me in a thing where I'm like, yeah, that feels good. That feels natural. That feels like the proper evolution of where I'm at. And over time, and I know if you've been following me for a while, you know there were solo episodes where I was just struggling bad, struggling with a podcast, and struggling with family life, personal struggles. And that obviously played into it as well, because if you have certain things you deal with in a personal situation, it can make the whole business side of things much harder. I'm not saying impossible, but it just makes it harder because your energy goes into areas where you're needed the most, and then energy preservation comes into play. And that was a huge impact for me and still is to this day. And it's funny, I just recently saw someone in my connection circle post almost every day for over 20 days, an honest and raw reflection of how they currently struggle with some family situations. It's a female, was much more open about that struggle, but I don't want to go into that because that's not for me to reshare. But it hit a spot because it still feels like to this day, the word vulnerability and authenticity gets thrown around so much, but when it comes to it, many people aren't like that. They're not fully sharing what's going on in their life. And I always try to a certain degree to be honest and show you where I'm at, tell you that I suffer from bouts of darkness that I have to walk through. Um, and that there's certain elements and situations in my life that are not exactly in my control, but I am learning to deal with them and learning to walk with them as best as I can. The reason why I'm not going into more details is because I respect the other people's privacy in that scenario. I don't want to share too much of that without their consent. And that's the only reason why I'm not going into details about my personal situation. Otherwise, I probably would share with you exactly what's going on. But it's not just me involved here, it's other people. And that's why I'm not 100% honest. Otherwise, I probably will be very honest and share really what's going on. And hopefully one day I can. But at this point, I can't. So yeah, that's another reason why obviously turning living on the B-side into a business of some shape or form hasn't quite eventuated yet. Having said that, we all go through changes, we all go through shifts, we all learn along the way, and no matter if you're 2, 20, 50 or 80, learning never stops. You never stop evolving and shifting and adapting and whatever else the words are. And my learning, my shifting has been to listen more, to lean into what brings me energy and what brings me joy, and do that. And letting go of society's expectation of how I should be doing things, and also the expectations I set on myself because I've been conditioned by that. And also, the funny thing is, with having to move twice within 10 months, I mean, there's a lot of shifting itself going on physically from one house to the other, moving boxes, moving belongings, moving myself from place to place. I had to learn to kind of let go of the pressure, let go of grinding constantly. And most important, and this is an ongoing journey, that I should. For a long time, it was I should be further ahead with my podcast. I should have bigger audience. I should have ways to monetize. I should have bigger names on my podcast. I should be a better interviewer. I should do this. I mean, just listen to that. That if you're not cringing at listening to this, I am. So I had breaks in between recording. I just had to. For moving reasons, personal reasons, and also burnout. I had podcaster burnout probably twice so far. And that's when everything suffers. You just don't do proper episodes. I remember recording solo episodes when I was going through podcaster burnout, and I look back and think, why did I do it? It's just not. It's just not. I just did it because I should. And that's wrong. I'm really trying hard to lean into what brings me joy, what brings me energy right now. And that's really what I want to do more of moving forward. Just focus on the good, juicy conversations that I so enjoy. I love talking to people about the music side, if it's business, if it's personal, if it's a combination of both, if it's learning more about music and how that impacts, affects us, benefits us. Anyone that has anything to say about music, I love talking to them. It's so incredible. I just love it. And I also really want to lean into more about how we can use music to help us, especially emotionally, for our well-being. That's the other thing that came so much to the surface lately for me. With everything that's going on in the world right now, we really need to go back to music, and not just for the well-being aspect, but there's so much more to music. It's a connector. It brings people together. It can heal us. It can bring peace if we let it. There's so much more to music than just listening and using it for journaling, for example. So much more. And that's the piece that I want to lean into really, really more as well, but with passion and energy, and not because I have to. But again, most of all, it's about having these fun conversations, having good in-depth conversation, learning more about music. That's really where I want to focus on completely with passion and energy and joy. So, what does that mean moving forward for Living on the B-Side, the podcast? Well, I've made the decision to stop recording solo episodes. I want to focus on the conversations, and I want to invite more diverse range of people to talk about music. I know I have a lot of musicians on lately, and it's always fascinating to hear their side of the story, but I also want to have people, and there will be some coming up, I can promise you that, who probably go on an angle of the benefits of music and a bit more maybe the science behind it, just having one-on-one conversations. That really will be my focus. So this episode will be my last solo episode. There will probably be, and I've not been very active on social media anyway, but there will be less social media. I know people are saying you got to be on social media, you got to post this, you got to post that to promote your podcast. I'm going to be an elegant rebel here, and I'm going to say, stuff that. I'm not doing that. No more. I'm going to go against the grain. I will be present on social media, but probably just, posting about the episodes coming out, some quotes from the guests, maybe an audiogram, something like that. But I won't, my energy, I've always struggled with social media, and I know it's necessary, but I'm just going to go against the grain and say, no, I'm just going to do it for when it feels right. So if you follow me on social media, you already noticed I'm not a heavy poster, but it might be just like that for the foreseeable future. And that's it. And again, I'm trying to balance, and I hate the word balance. I think harmony is a better word. I'm really trying to lean into and find the harmony of my passion, the expectations I put on myself, and the whole money side of it. I want to do something that maybe could earn me some income from it, but in a way that feels fun, that feels right, that feels passionate, that brings me joy. So I don't know how that looks like yet, but stay tuned. That will probably come. I won't announce it on the podcast, so you have to check out my website or follow me on LinkedIn, because that's where I will be most active. But having said that, I'm still here for you guys. I'm still open on my DMs on my socials for any kind of questions you have, any feedback, anything you want to share with me, because as I keep saying to you guys, my DMs are open. Please get in touch, even if you just want to ask for a song suggestion when you go through a rough time, anything like that. This is what I'm here for. This is what I want to do. I want to really support you guys as much as I can. So please don't hesitate to reach out for anything, okay? So, having said all that, thank you so much, guys, for being here with me. If you've been here from the start, wow, B-Siders, what a ride, right? If you've joined me halfway through or just recently, I am chuffed you found me. Welcome you with open arms to the B-Side, and please stay with me and, keep on coming on this B-Side journey with me, wherever it will lead us. It's all about the joy, the passion, experimenting with things, and going against the grind, going against what other people say we should be doing, because that's not who we are. We're not, don't go with society's norm generally. We're on the B-Side. We're generally introverts. We don't look at the world the same. So why should we start doing it now? And I want to leave you with, I'm getting teary now. I'm going to leave you with quoting some lyrics from a song by Mr. Mister called Broken Wings, which I find very apt for this episode. And the lyrics goes like this: take these broken wings and learn to fly again, learn to live so free. This is from a 1985 song by Mr. Mister, as I said. And I do remember listening to this as a kid. I just loved the music itself because I didn't understand English. But looking at these lyrics today, I'm like, yes, that's it. It's about letting go. It's about moving forward, but on my own terms, the way I want to go. Challenging the status quo. Being an elegant rebel, as my dear friend Peter N. Wood always says, but do it with grace, compassion, and kindness. So let's do that, B-siders. Let's become elegant rebels, and let's move forward with living on the B-side in that way. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I love you all. Thanks so much for your support so far. And I can't wait to see where we're all going with living on the B-side. It's going to be exciting. I can feel it, even though it's not kind of eventuated anything yet, and I can't quite see the future, but it's okay. We're just going to go one day at a time. So take those broken wings, learn to fly again, and learn to live so free. On to the next episode. Much music and love. Bye. Bye-bye.